Okay, so here we are with another Masters Universe Origins unboxing, and this is another Sun-Man and the Rulers of the Sun 3-pack. This is another one from that was a Target exclusive. You can see it got marked down to like $14.99. I paid maybe about $10 more than that. I think I wasn't able to find these at retail when they went on clearance, but I was able to find this one on eBay that somebody was selling for pretty cheap. So I went ahead and picked him up. Actually, he sent me an offer, which is like how I got it for even cheaper. A very nice piece of artwork on the back. I believe this is based on a promotional picture that they took with all the Sunman figures together, including the unproduced ones. I think most, if not all, the ones in this set are unproduced. They might have done Holographo. I don't remember. But Zap-Man, I'm pretty sure, was unproduced. Kikto, I'm pretty sure, was unproduced. But they might have done Holographo. I don't really remember. So let's go ahead and open it up. I could have sworn I cut the tape on one side, and I can't seem to find. There we go. Okay. All right. And it's got at least one panel of instructions for each of these on the back. And it says, push kick discs into armor for Kikto. A holographic harness confuses enemies for Holographo. And push tech towers into gauntlets for Zap-Man. And all these guys have like just really odd gimmicks. It's not like Sunman himself, who, like, his gimmicks were unique and then they were cool. Pighead, I kind of understand what the deal with Pighead is. I think I know what the intention was when he was created. And of course, Space Sumo was a ninja. It's kind of weird he was called a sumo when he was clearly a ninja, but I understand what a ninja is, so I get this. And like, I get a futuristic scientist, I get a micro laser specialist, and I get an expert kickboxer. But I think the way that some of these gimmicks came across in the toys is what's unusual about this. So in lieu of comic books, we get these very thick collector cards. We saw these in the other Sunman 3-pack. So there's Kikto, and it says expert kickboxer, a martial arts master sworn to use his talents to battle evil. Kikto is far more dangerous than the explosive star discs that adorn his armor. Deemed worthy by his ancestors, they bestowed on him sonic powers to disable his enemies. Well, that seems more something to play up as the gimmick, because maybe that's what those weird discs are on. They create sonic effects or something. I don't know. We're gonna move on. Zap-Man, micro laser specialist, armed with an array of virus destroying mini towers. Man, we could have used him 4 years ago, couldn't we have? And a mind for computer hacking, Zap-Man is the ultimate defense against technological attacks. The micro laser, I guess they're computer viruses. Well, maybe we still probably could have used them. Micro laser specialist prevents dangerous tech from falling into the wrong hands. And last but not least, Holographo, futuristic scientist. From a distant part of the universe, Holographo mastered the ability to capture, freeze, and manipulate illusions. Now a hero of Trafixa, the futuristic scientist protects the innocent from the forces of evil. So let's go ahead and have a look at these three new Barbarian superhero characters that were created by Olmec Toys, but not released by Olmec Toys, finally released by Mattel. So accessory-wise, Kikto comes with a knife, just a knife, not a sword or anything, just a knife. And he's got two of these shin guards will snatch onto his shins, and they both have these kind of shuriken-like devices attached to them. And if I'm reading the back correctly, they're all removable, so you can take these off of them. They're just on little pegs. They just slip right on and off. So we'll go ahead and set those aside, and go ahead and take him out of the package. But she doesn't seem to have any of the infamous rubber tabs holding him in or anything like that. And right away, we can see that Kikto is an exact remold of Sunman, the flat-top version of Sunman. And that means he's also a remold of Space Sumo, since Space Sumo is just him colored with lighter skin color. And this is Sunman with darker skin color. So if he's got more melanin, does that mean he's more powerful than Sunman? I kind of doubt it, because Sunman's like pretty ridiculously OP. But But it is really cool that we have two new black characters from Masters of the Universe via the Sunman line, and that they each have different skin colors. Like they're not all the same color, which is nice because not all black people in real life are the same color, just like not all white people in real life are the same color, not all Asian people in real life are the same skin color. So each of them has their own kind of unique skin color, and that's pretty cool. So and Holographo has a sword. We'll get to him in a minute. I'll go ahead and put that back. I just got ahead of myself in terms of taking things out of the package. So the way they did his armor is interesting. Is it looks like it just kind of clips around his torso, and you can just kind of pull it off of him like that. And I accidentally pulled his head off. I guess it wasn't on very well. We'll go ahead and pop that back on. And like I said, he's got the same head sculpt as the flat top version of Sunman and Space Sumo, which apparently a lot of the figures in the original line reuse this flat top head sculpt. And like I said, I think it worked pretty well on Sunman as a black man, and it worked pretty well on Space Sumo as an Asian man. And here we see it again as a black man, just like a slightly darker skinned one. Now I understand molds are expensive, and you'd want to use those sparingly if you could, but couldn't they have done something like, I don't know, give him a mustache or something like that just to differentiate him? Maybe they could have given him blonde hair and he looked like Simon Phoenix. I am a big fan of Demolition Man. That is my favorite Stallone movie. Well, maybe except for Rocky 3. I do like Rocky 3. So we see that Kikto does have on his chest this little disc holder, and I think that that's intended to hold the discs that attach to his shins and his forearms. So let's go ahead and see what we can do with that. Let's take one of these out and place it into the holster here. I don't know what you call that. So there's a little dot there, and there's a little hole that the peg attached to. And I think what you're supposed to do is make sure when you put it in, I think there's a little divot in the middle, like a little bump that these spikes on the throwing blades are supposed to go in the middle of. So I think that's how it's supposed to attach in. It actually holds it in pretty snugly. But the problem with this is that now he's off balance as far as maybe these attached to his thighs. I think these attached to his thighs actually. Let me look on the package. Yeah, it looks like they're attached to his thighs, all right. So it's thigh armor that clips on. I put this one on upside down. There we go. Thigh armor that attaches on there, and then you can attach these little shuriken doohickeys to whichever of these pegs you want to. In fact, I wonder if you could attach more than one to each peg. It looks like you can double up on them if you want to. So if you feel like it's a little unbalanced having one in the chest, but you still want to have one in the chest, you can, instead of putting one on each of these, you could put two onto one. So you could have both of his forearms, and both of his forearms now have shurikens on them, and neither of his thighs. So his coloring is kind of unusual. Like his uniform, it's mostly an all white uniform, but he's got these kind of like pink trunks and pink on the toes of his shoes. These Sunman characters tend to have like multicolored boots, and this guy's no exception. But yeah, they went with a white and pink color scheme, which is kind of unusual for an action figure. But maybe he's just that secure in his masculinity that he'll wear a pink outfit, and it's your problem if you got a problem with his pink outfit. And then he's a master at kickboxing, so you don't want to mess with him. Maybe he wears it so people will make fun of him for wearing a pink outfit, and then he gets in a fight with them over it. So it's his excuse to get in a fight with them. Anyway, he does come with the one weapon, which is a knife. Well, one weapon besides the throwing stars. So it's cool to have another martial artist in the line. But honestly, other than the fact that I guess these are technically shurikens, there's not really anything like particularly martial artisty about him. Like he's not like wearing a headband or a gi or anything like that. And the knife isn't really like even a particularly like martial arts kind of knife. It just kind of looks almost like a Rambo kind of hunting knife. But it's not a bad figure. It's just there were some odd decisions made for this guy, and I kind of feel like these were the ones that were made sort of like at the tail end of when they were making up a bunch of these characters, and they're like, okay, we got Sunman, he's pretty cool. How about Space Sumo? He's a samurai, and Pighead obviously is the villain, and Digitino's like a computer guy, and Boltman throws electrical bolts, and this guy has a falcon, and this guy has a holograph on his chest, and this guy is he's got electrical bolts. We already did Boltman. Okay, well he's Zap-Man, whatever, So they're not quite as they can't all be winners, is what I'm saying. So and when we're getting towards this end of it, there's not as cool. So this is the sword that comes with Holographo, and you see it's got like it's stabbed through a big pepperoni pizza. So maybe I could give this sword to Ninja Turtles or something. But I do believe that this piece is removable. I had seen where some people had removed it. Yep, it does indeed click off. So if you want more just like a regular looking katana, that'll do it. You can take this thing off, and I don't know what else it would do after that. So let's go ahead and click it on back on there for now, just so we can get the full picture of the guy. So we did not talk about the articulation with Kikto, but I figure this is probably a better figure to deal with that, so I don't have to worry about like throwing stars falling off all over my room. So first of all, I want to say I really like this head sculpt. He actually gets a unique head sculpt, and he looks to me kind of like the actor Eric LaSalle, who you might remember from ER and Coming to America. Maybe my favorite Eddie Murphy movie, although it's a tough call because obviously you got Beverly Hills Cop and you got Trading Places, but Coming to America to me is kind of like peak Eddie Murphy. That was like Eddie Murphy when he got to the point where he could do pretty much anything he wanted to and did, but at the same time wasn't quite so full of himself that he was indulging in his worst aspects yet. So I love Eddie Murphy. I got a lot of respect for him, but yeah, I think that was peak Eddie Murphy. Anyway, Eric LaSalle in there was the guy who was the heir to the Soul Glow fortune, but he does not have Jerry curl. He just has like a regular afro, and he's got a beard. He's got a full beard, which I like. Obviously, I think full beard is a good look, and it certainly worked for me over the years. So yeah, and it looks like his armor all snaps onto this peg in the back. So if you want to take it off, you pull off that strap, and then you pull off the strap around his belt, and all of it comes together like that. And he's got this huge what's supposed to be a holograph badge on the front, but it's actually lenticular. Hey, there's Captain Have Fun. How you doing? He says there's a great song by a former child soldier in Mogadishu called Coming to America. It's very pro-American and funny. Well, I will have to check that out, but I'm guessing it's unrelated to the Eddie Murphy movie. So let's see if we take the breastplate off. Let's see how the straps look just by themselves, because I'm kind of curious about that. So yeah, it looks pretty decent. Pretty decent just like that. I might actually keep it like that for display, because I do find that holographic disc is kind of awkward, like in terms of how it's placed. But I might even, since it is removable, I might be able to shift it somewhat. And what would have been a really cool thing to do with this is if they could have found some way to attach a handle to it, and then he could use it as a shield separately. Hell, maybe that would have been a better way just to do this this device in general, because like I said, to me it's just kind of awkward on his chest, and it seems to ride up a little high, and like his chin would bump into it, I think. Captain Have Fun says, I think you might have every Masters of the Universe figure. I wish. I don't even have every Masters of the Universe Origins figure yet. There's still a a few of those I need to get to. By the way, I don't know if I've showed these that I've gotten recently. I finally did manage to get Lord Grasp, which this is one I've wanted for a very long time. I wanted to get him from Classics, but of course that one's hard to get. Could I 3D print a handle? Maybe. I might could. I know I have handles that fit onto shields, so I might be able to glue one to the back. And I got Terror, so I finally got these guys. Uh, Lord Grass is obviously the one that I'm the most excited about. I've been a fan of that design for a long time. Terror is very much of a hodgepodge, but we'll have fun looking at him. And since I decided to, start picking up these Turtles of Grayskull figures, I got Tila, and I actually have an extra one of these that I ordered on Amazon because they had one for cheap on there. But I wanted to have an extra one for custom idea that I had. But you see what I'm talking about? How and I tried to get this down as low on the torso as I could, but it just kind of bumps into his pecs. But you see how it just kind of overlaps over his shin, and that's an odd thing. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the articulation, since I think this is going to be the best one to do that with. Uh, Holographo can look up about that far, look down about that far, tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side, rotate his head all the way around. Of course, the arms rotate all the way around at the shoulders, and they move up about that far. So that's pretty decent. He's got a single joint of articulation at the elbow, extends about that far, bends in about that far, not quite 90 degrees because he's a little muscle bound, and it rotates all the way around. He's got a single joint of articulation at the wrist, which rotates all the way around and has a horizontal hinge, so it moves back and forth that way. He turns all the way around at the waist, and he can kick up about that far, bend at the knee about that far, and of course the knee rotates all the way around, and then has a boot cut, rotates all the way around. Foot points down about that far, foot points up about that far, and then that rotates all the way around. So that's it for the articulation on these guys. They're all the same exact body, so they all have the same exact articulation. And of course, that's most of the articulation that's on your standard Masters of the Universe Origins figure. Nothing unusual here as far as that goes. Last but not least, we need to have a look at him holding his weapon in his hand. Not as much work to arm this guy up as the other two figures in here. He's a much more basic figure than either of the other two guys, and frankly, I think that makes him a better figure. Sometimes less is more with these characters, and really, when it comes to Masters of the Universe, the most important thing to me is this is a barbarian warrior superhero type character, and he just needs to look tough and kick some ass, and he needs furry shorts and some kind of weapon, and he's good to go. So, and if you want to give him some kind of gimmick, like he's got a giant metal fist, or 3 eyes where he has panoramic vision or something like that, it's all good. Even a guy like Trapjaw. Trapjaw is a guy who's got a lot of stuff going on, but he still fits within that sort of, well, he's a super villain, but he still fits in that barbarian parameter, I think, pretty well. Just more like that sort of early Motu steampunky kind of way. So Captain Half-Fun says, looks like a lot of modern figures can't look up. The hair prevents it. Yeah, and I think that's the case for this guy too. But to be fair, they did originally design this character in the 1980s, and action figures seldomly looked up back then. I mean, I think you had Adventure People could maybe look up a little bit, and the Tonka, whatever their version of Adventure People was called, I forget. And G.I. Joe, at least from 1985 on, those could look up a little bit. But anyway, let's move on to our third character. Now, one thing I want to point out is the way that he's illustrated on the package here. Zap-Man looks like he also is a black man, like how Holographo and Kikto are black. And isn't this a cool picture here? I didn't really get a chance to look at it too much. And they're fighting these kind of goblin-looking guys. But Holographo especially looks very, very badass and heroic. So I really like that picture. So, and of course, like I said, I really like the picture on the back. Some nice artwork on here. So last but not least, well, maybe least, I don't know. Probably a little better than Kikto, but we'll figure that out. We got Zap-Man, who has this very unusual looking helmet, and these two very unusual looking weapons. So we'll talk about those in a minute and how those attach to the figure. And then Zap-Man himself. So let's get him out of here. And Zap-Man is wearing a somewhat unusual piece of armor, which is basically a vest that clamps around his entire chest. You can see it's got a couple of straps over here at the sides. And speaking of hair that's going to prevent him from looking up, he's got like just a little bit of a ponytail there. Just can you see it? Just a very little bit of a ponytail, rat tail, dovetail, whatever you call that. In fact, his whole hairstyle is like kind of like this rockabilly pompadour. And maybe it's just because he's kind of Latino coded as far as the skin color and everything, and maybe I'm just reading into it because of my age. I'm thinking back to the time period where this guy was originally intended to be produced, and La Bamba was a really big movie at that time. I remember watching it a lot on HBO when I was that age. So he does look to me a little bit like Richie Valens. Like not Lou Diamond Phillips as Richie Valens in the movie, but the real Richie Valens, the guy who he was a teenage rock star who looked like he was 40. Like I'm a big fan of the guy. Like he had a lot of great songs. Like obviously La Bamba and Donna would be like his two most famous, but he had a lot of good songs, especially for a guy who died tragically as young as he did. La Bamba is such a great movie. It really is. So, they made the Buddy Holly story and they made La Bamba, but I don't remember ever seeing a movie about the Big Bopper. So get on that, Hollywood. Like Jack Black has been like acting like since he was a kid. He would have been the perfect Big Bopper like maybe 20 years ago. Anyway, maybe it's too obvious. Maybe he doesn't want to be typecast as fat guys. Captain Have Fun says, I have two Homelander figures that look nearly identical, but one can look up and the other can't. That is strange. So are they the same exact figure or two different? Captain Have Fun says, La Bamba sort of typecast Lou. He's called La Bamba in public. I would never call him La Bamba. I would call him Richie because I know the actual name of the character. No, I'd call him Lou Diamond Phillips. I know him from like lots of other stuff besides that, like Young Guns, Stand and Deliver, and he's done a lot of good stuff since. He's a fine actor. But yeah, he looks a little bit like Richie Valens. And since I am a big fan of like 1950s rock and roll, I do actually appreciate that sort of rockabilly haircut. I think it's cool looking. Maybe it's not what you'd imagine a barbarian is having typically, but whatever. I still like it. So let's go ahead. We're going to take off the armor just so we can have a look at him without the armor, which I'm not expecting any surprises here. This is going to be the same Masters of the Universe buck. I'm pretty sure that we've been seeing 100 times before. But just so we can see how it comes off, see how it kind of sandwiches over the figure and has these two straps on the side. And like I said, it's just kind of like this strange yellow vest with lots of studs on it. So I don't know if it has anything to do with zapping powers. And like I said, underneath here we have the typical Masters Universe torso, which is very similar in color, I believe, to what the original vintage 1980s He-Man figure had in terms of his skin color. But the newer one is a little more light and a little more on the orangish side. But this is a very deep, rich tan. So if you wanted to do a more accurate to the 80s coloration of He-Man, you could get yourself a Zap-Man and use those parts. And this leg seems really stiff. I don't know what it is about this. I'm gonna have to heat it up or something. I'm afraid when I try to move it, it feels almost more like I'm bending the pin that the leg is attached to than actually moving the leg itself. The other one's pretty tight too, but it doesn't seem anywhere near as bad as his right leg. And I pulled his body apart. So, I didn't talk really about Holographo's color scheme, but I do really like it with the brown skin and the red of the belt and the boots and the blue of the gloves and the trunks and the bracers, a little bit on the toes. It all works together very well. He's a very eye-catching figure. And likewise, Zap-Man works really well together with the tan skin and the deeper color of blue and a really bright yellow, not quite fluorescent yellow, but still really bright. Captain Halfon says Lou Diamond Films, Mark Wahlberg, and Dave Chappelle are in an action comedy called The Big Hit. If you've never seen it, it's great. Lou plays a total psycho. Actually, I think I did see that, but it was a long time ago. That was back when we were all still calling Mark Wahlberg Marky Mark, and I think he'd just done Fear, and people were like, "Holy crap, this guy can actually act!" And then he was in Boogie Nights around that time too, and that was when his career, I think, really started to take off as an actor. So, but yeah, last time I would have seen that movie, and that's, I think I've seen it, but it might just be something I've seen in like bits and pieces on TV. So I'll probably want to go back and check it out again. But last time I would have seen it probably would have been on VHS. It would have been that long ago. So yeah, wow. So he's got this funky yellow helmet, and it's a helmet in like the loosest sense of the word, and it does kind of fit over these two tabs on his shoulders. And man, that has got to kill his peripheral vision. But there he is, kind of peering out. It kind of reminds me vaguely of Lex Luthor, like the superpowers, the Lexorian war suit that he wore in the superpowers figure. Kind of vaguely reminds me of that. And then we're supposed to be able to attach these I think they called them Zap Towers. Wasn't that what they called them? I'm an old man. Forgive my lack of Tech Towers. It would have made more sense to call him Zap Towers since he's Zap Man. He's not Tech Man. Although Tech Man might have been a better name. I don't know. But yeah, they just kind of attached to his wrists, and it just seems like an awkward place to put a weapon. It kind of reminds me a little bit of G.I. Joe, Psych Out. He had the little radar dishes that remember that strapped to his wrist, but these are like less like radar dishes and more like antennae. They're very long. I think it probably would have worked better if they made this into like some sort of handheld weapon. Like it might have been something where maybe they were just working really hard at trying to make the characters as less violent as possible. I'm still trying to work with this leg a little bit. But yeah, so maybe make it look less like a gun than you possibly could. But honestly, like if I was a kid and I saw this character on the shelves, it just kind of confused me. Like I wouldn't really know what to make of this guy. Like you know, I know I was saying I wasn't that impressed with how Kikto turned out, but like I can at least look at him and figure out what his deal is. His knife, he followed for his knife out of his hand. And get that back. So, but I can at least tell he's some kind of like warrior or something. He's got a knife. I know what you do with a knife. He's got throwing stars. I know what you do. Clumsy me. I know what you do in throwing stars. You throw them. It's right there in the name. And last but not least, Holographo has a sword. I know what to do with a sword. Every kid instinctively knows what to do with a sword. Holographo, Captain Halfon says, did you ever click Visionaries? Yes, The Big Hit was made in 1998. They have kidnapped a beautiful Chinese girl. Mark Wahlberg falls for her. Well, I probably would too. I can't blame him for that. I did have a few Visionaries figures, but I didn't have a whole lot. I think like around the time those came out, I was kind of starting to outgrow playing with action figures. Although like I didn't stop collecting them, at least for very long. I think there was maybe like a period of like a month where I stopped buying action figures, and then they came out with the 1989 Batman movie, and I wanted to have a Batman action figure. So Captain Have Fun says, "Hey, I married a Chinese girl." Well, that was probably a good decision. But yeah, yeah. Captain Have Fun also says it would be cool if NECA made He-Man 87 movie line and a cartoon line for Motu 83. Well, like stranger things have happened, like Stranger Things. Like look at all the toy companies that have made Stranger Things figures. Playmates has made them. Mattel's made them. Like I don't know who made those Ghostbusters type figures that Target was selling a while back. Like they were made like the real Ghostbusters. Those were pretty cool. I liked those. So, and NECA has licensed characters that have been licensed by other toy companies at the time. Like for example, like they were able to do their own Ninja Turtles, and they've actually done Batman and Superman and Green Lantern before. I mean, like in the context of like con exclusives and things like that. But I mean, like honestly, if NECA wanted to get more use out of their standard superhero buck, I think you could get that to pass for a Dolph Lundgren He-Man. Like you could take that buck and put the right molded pieces on it, the right belts, the right harness, the right cape, the right head sculpt, bracers, shin guards, all that kind of stuff. You could take that basic superhero buck and make a pretty decent Dolph Lundgren He-Man out of it, I think. So that would be really cool. Anyway, so I think that's everything that I have to say about each of these figures individually. Looking at them as a set, I believe the retail price on this was something like $50. And I can honestly say I would not have paid $50 at the time, because I didn't pay $50 at the time. I saw these and decided to wait till they went on clearance. And when they went on clearance, they sold out immediately. But I didn't have to pay much more than clearance when I bought them on eBay. So it still wound up being a pretty good deal. If you pay less than $10 a piece for 3 Masters of the Universe Origins, I don't care what Origins figures they are, you got a pretty good deal. Like that's probably a good enough price for custom fodder. And these guys actually would be some pretty good custom fodder. So if I can get another set of these for cheap, I will definitely do that. But yeah, I think the rock star of the set easily is Holographo. I think he's definitely the best character visually out of the bunch. Yeah, he's got his own issues with like this shield on the front is kind of awkwardly placed, but I think that he's probably actually the best one. Kikto and Zap-Man, these are both guys who would be good sort of like, ancillary background characters. I do like the rockabilly hairstyle that Zap-Man has. So that means I'm going to display him without this helmet. He doesn't need a helmet. He's got that cool hairstyle. Now, of course, this is a reuse of the head from Digitino, but I wasn't ever able to get Digitino. So that's a way that I was able to kinda, but not quite, get that character. Maybe I'll be able to get a hold of one in the future. Who knows? But I'd have to be able to get it for a good price. It seems to me like Sunman and Pighead are both really easy to get for cheap, but the other figures in the subline of Rulers of the Sun, Sunman, whatever you want to call it, they've been somewhat difficult to get. So and it seems like whenever I see them selling online, they're selling for quite a bit more than retail. Dang, I've been missing out on the chat. So Gaz says they seem to always go for the same IPs. I wish we could have had some Monster Squad or Last Starfighter figures. Either one of those I would buy, especially Monster Squad. And of course, NECA has done like a ton of Universal monsters. So those are at least kind of in the same ballpark as Monster Squad. But I don't think we've ever actually had proper Monster Squad action figures. And even if I was outgrowing action figures at the time, I definitely would have bought those. Captain Have Fun says the best 1987 He-Man figure I've seen was from the Classics line. If not the best figure, the best head sculpt. I definitely agree it had the best head sculpt. In fact, it had 2 really good head sculpts, if I recall, and they're both leagues better than the Masterverse version, who to me looks like Thomas Hayden Church. And nothing against Thomas Hayden Church. He's a fine actor, but he's not He-Man. Captain Have Fun said that hologram chest piece looks like you couldn't possibly hit his torso with a sword. Well, yeah, that would be a good possibility, but I kind of wonder if it makes it so he couldn't possibly hit anybody else's torso with his own sword, because it looks like it just kind of get in the way. Maybe they could have made something that conformed to his chest a little bit better. And plus, I said it kind of covers up his chin, which is kind of awkward. So it's just a strange piece. I get what they were trying to do, but I don't think it quite works. Thankfully, it is removable, so you can take it off if you don't like it too much. But yeah, I definitely think Holographo, despite my misgivings about that, is definitely the best figure in this set. And if you can pick up this figure set for any one figure, this would be the one that I would say he's worth picking it up. The other two are okay. They're good to have as, I guess, kind of like backup guys, just kind of cannon fodder for your rulers of the sun. You'd have this guy, and if you get just the two sets, you'd have this guy and Space Sumo that would be good backup for Sunman. And no other villains but Pighead. They really could have used some other villains in this line, both in the original line and in the both in Origins and the original line. That's what I'm trying to say. Captain Have Fun says Monster Squad. Yeah, all the kids and the monsters. Didn't that Dracula go on to do something? Another big yes. Duncan Regger, the actor that played Dracula in the Monster Squad, later played Zorro on the Family Channel Zorro television series. So, and then Captain Have Fun says the Masterverse 87 He-Man head skull. I'll call it Botox He-Man. He looks like Big Mignona did a bunch of Botox. Yeah, he does actually. that's another one. But yeah, to me, he looks like Thomas Hayden Church, like especially like when he was on Wings and he played Lowell the handyman and he had that kind of mullet, almost like that same hairstyle. So, and again, great actor. I got nothing against the guy. I'm not trying to make fun of Thomas Hayden Church, but he doesn't look like He-Man, is what I'm saying. He barely looked like the Sandman. So, anyway, that's it for this 3-pack. I definitely think of the 3-packs that we got of Sunman, that the first one is the best. And if you're only going to get one, get that one because it gets you the main hero, the main villain, and probably the best figure in the line besides those two. So that's definitely like a home run set right there. This set, it's okay. It's okay. It's not like a great set, but if you can get it for cheap, it's worth getting for cheap. Certainly for that much. And if you don't feel like buying the whole set, if you just want one figure out of the whole set, and we know what one figure that I would recommend you pick out of one, because I already said, but like say if you just wanted to get this guy for your Masters Universe Classics and didn't care about, or I'm sorry, Origins, and didn't care about the other two, or if you wanted to have, these are all fairly easy to get for like $15 a piece on eBay. I've seen maybe even cheaper, but yeah, that's pretty much it for these. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week, opening up something else from He-Man, because I just got a whole lot of He-Man to open up right now. So yeah. Captain Half says, I stream more earlier. I was wondering why it was looking so blurry on my end. StreamYard had set my 4K to 480. Well, that would do it. So also, I'd noticed afterwards that I didn't have my Wi-Fi turned on, so it was just going over my regular data. So that probably didn't help either, did it? But it's okay. I kind of feel like that was more of a stream for talking anyway. We had stuff that we showed off, but it was like kind of more of a chit chat kind of thing. So you could hear us just fine. That's the more important thing. Anyway, I think that's it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you like and subscribe and all the other fun YouTube stuff down below. If you want to see more of these Master Universe, these many Master Universe figures that I'm going to be opening soon, and I promise I'll be getting into more stuff eventually. But right now I just got a whole bunch of He-Man. Make sure you hit the little bell. I don't know what I'm going to open next. I haven't really decided yet, but we got all these Snake Men. We got the 2 Snake Men. We got a bunch of Ninja Turtles. I think I'll save the Ninja Turtles ones for last. And get on opening those after I'm done with all the Masters of the Universe proper. I think that's going to be the best way to do that. Captain Have Fun says other creators watching too. They mentioned it on their show, but it was fun getting to know. Oh yeah, likewise. Like I definitely had a lot of fun doing it. We'll have to do it again sometime soon in the future. Maybe might be able to clear out some time like next month or something like that. But I know like I don't have as many hours left on my StreamYard because I just got the free service. So So I've only got about 6 hours left right now, and that should be like it should get me through the 20th. Like I think the 20th is the where my days click back over, and then I'll have full hours again. But I'm not gonna do a show tomorrow, and I'm not sure when or if I'll do a show on Monday, but we'll see if I do. It's going to depend a lot on what my schedule's like, and I actually don't know exactly what my schedule's like yet. So I'm just gonna figure that out by ear. Captain Have Fun says I got some pretty big and expensive Batman Returns and Batman Forever figures. I'll buy a StreamYard and invite you on. I was going to do that anyway. Well, that would be very generous of you. Thank you. And the figures come in. The figures are coming this month or next. I will look forward to seeing those because that sounds really cool. And you know what a big Batman fan I am. Batman is my absolute favorite character. So looking forward to seeing those. That sounds really cool. And I've got lots of Batman stuff on the way too, because once I'm done with this, I've got more DC Multiverse and superpowers. And if you did see my stream with Captain Have Fun, and if you didn't, you can still go back and watch it. 8 inches. Oh, okay, cool. So those will scale with Mego, I guess. That's pretty neat. So but yeah, if you haven't seen that stream, I did show off on those some of the new superpowers figures that I'll have coming up. So I'll probably do those after I'm finished with all this Masters of the Universe stuff that I've got. So uh, see how long that takes me. So but I am looking forward to getting some more of that stuff open. And if you're looking forward to seeing some more of that stuff, trust me, don't worry, it's coming. I just I'm just on this on this He-Man journey right now. It is a good journey. So but yeah, and I've got so much He-Man stuff. I just want to get opened up. Like I really want to open up this Lord Grasp figure. You have no idea how long I've been waiting to have Lord Grasp. I just think he's so cool. And it's weird because he's just a character that's just like kit bashed together from a bunch of stuff that doesn't even make any sense. But I just think it comes together in a way that it probably shouldn't. McFarlane's Silver Age release on April 11th. Which ones are those? Because I got like I don't have it over here, but I was at Walmart the other day and I didn't know that they'd actually already released the Silver Age Doctor Fate figure, the McFarlane Digital Silver Age Doctor Fate figure. And not only did I find that figure at Walmart, it's the platinum version, which I didn't even know there was a platinum version. So I've got this really cool gold and black Doctor Fate figure that I'm looking forward to opening. And I love Justice Society, and I love Doctor Fate just as his own character. I just think Doctor Fate is really cool, and anything Justice Society that I can get my hands on, I'm all too happy to do that. But yeah, I saw this and I'm like, I didn't even know this existed. so of course I had to buy him immediately. There we go. I'm gonna put this back together so I can put it in the recycling. So yeah, I've got a lot of really cool stuff coming up to open up. So we still have I opened up both the Power Girl figures, but I still have both the Guy Gardner figures and Captain Cold. I want the regular Dr. Fate. We wear the same colors. Yeah, I noticed. I want the regular Dr. Fate too, but I was not going to turn down a platinum version of Dr. Fate. I was just really surprised that it even existed because I hadn't even seen it. All I'd seen was the one that was colored like the Superpowers figure. And I'm nostalgic enough. I'll take the Superpowers version. I want that one. But then, like, God, what were the other figures that were in that wave? Like, there was the again very Superpowers looking. We talked about it on the stream. The Jose Luis Garcia Lopez looking Superman, and the Silver Age Two Face. That one looked really good. Captain Have Fun says that was an accident. Those figures got released. That's why McFarlane had to do the press way in advance. Okay. So those came out way too early. That's interesting. So oh well, I guess I got an early action figure. Yeah, it had to happen eventually. It always seems like I'm the last to get anything. So It's nice to be the first to get something for a change. Anyway, that's it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you like and subscribe. All the other fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment and let me know what you think about these figures. Like, are these going to be guys that you're going to be bringing into your Masters of the Universe Origins collection? Are you all Sunmanned out at this point? Even if you're a big fan of Sunman, are you just looking at these guys and thinking, "Oh, these are the also rans"? I already got Sunman and Pighead. I'm good. I'm set. Like I know that not all these figures got released, but even the ones that did, besides Sunman and Pighead, I think were kind of hard to find. So Cat and Half Fun says, "I want to stand Dr. Fate next to my superpowers version." Yeah, that'll probably be a photo that I take once I finally get that version too. So anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks everybody for stopping by. It was a good episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. We will talk to you next time. Bye.